Hey dollhouse people, Whitney LaBrie here, and this is the second part to the dollar store do-over challenge that I'm doing with Shira from Queen City Minis. If you haven't checked out her table yet, go ahead over to her YouTube and check it out. You're gonna be really impressed. Let me just pause real quick and let you know that yesterday Shira had a major issue where her SD card actually corrupted and she lost all her files and footage for her steampunk video. So she does not have that right now. We don't know if she will ever have a video on it, but that doesn't mean that you can't jump on over. If you haven't seen her other stuff, she has plenty of other great videos that you should check out. All right, back to the program. Today is going to be the final reveal of our steampunk diorama using our dollar store table that we redid in the other episode. There were certainly some challenges involved in this, but I think that you're really going to enjoy it. I enjoyed the outcome, I enjoyed the process, and I learned a ton. For this project, my goal is to really use just found objects that I already had from other projects that I've done. So I'm going to start with this foam board that I use in a Burbs project that I did months ago, and I'm going to use it, I'm going to cut it down and build the skeleton of the room box. It has this really great tree shape cut into it already from the other project, and I want to somehow incorporate that into the room box, so I'm going to use that piece in of itself. The other thing that I'm going to do behind that is I'm going to build out a light box behind it so that it has a space for me to add, you know, some sort of lighting behind that tree, maybe like a Christmas light that was for a Christmas village, or something along those lines. But we'll see. Things, you know, can change sometimes as you kind of go along. You know, we always talk about in our projects of the ugly stage. I feel like this is certainly a part of the ugly stage. And plus I had to kind of mill it together because I'm using so many random cardboard or random poster board, you know, pieces here, and different types of poster board too. So we'll see how this works out. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to base coat this project in black paint. And I'm just using my regular Craft Smart acrylic paints to do this. Okay, so I lied. This is actually the ugly stage of the project right here. Yeah, that's pretty hideous looking so far. So far, I'm not impressed at all with my ideas, but you know, again, ugly stage. Okay, moving on. Once that black is mostly finished drying, I'm going to go ahead and add some antiqued bronze to the walls. And I'm also going to paint the entire floor in this copper color. It kind of reminds me of a penny. Okay, so I was kidding. This is actually the ugly phase of this project right here. It just, to me, keeps getting uglier. So I really hope that I can fix this somehow. So the color of the floor actually gave me an idea. And so what I did was I grabbed my change jar, and it's full of a lot of pennies. And I'm going to go ahead and do a Abraham Lincoln flooring here. And hopefully it'll turn out really nice. And that's what it looked like. Now, I did not clean any of the pennies. I didn't wash them or nothing. If they were dirty, tarnished, whatever, I glued them right on down. It didn't even bother me. I felt like added some interest anyway to the flooring. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some popsicle sticks, and I'm going to just build a border around that penny flooring. And I painted it that same antique color. Okay, now I'm going to mask off the whole base of the floor, because what I want to do is I want to add some water resin to this flooring to kind of seal all these pennies in and give it a really nice shine. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm using my realistic water from Woodland Scenics, And I'm not going to use a lot. It's not going to look like the pennies are underwater. I'm just really using it to seal these pennies in.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay.
Now, once this goes on, it is going to take about 24 hours to really cure. And so I'll just leave it setting out. But you can see how shiny it is in the photos here. And then something really cool happened. Something that I didn't expect to happen, but actually I think really created this really cool. The pennies patinaed and they turned this bluish green color. And actually, I think it is awesome. I think it made them look even better for the look that I'm going for. So it was kind of a pleasant surprise. And I really like the way that it looks. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to address is this large crease in this foam board here. And also a common issue when you do foam board room boxes is that once the paint goes on, or even sometimes without paint, they tend to bow on you. And in this case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some scrap wood that I have. It's actually a perfect size of a door. And I'm going to paint it in that really pretty zinc color that I painted the actual vanity table in. And I'm gonna use that as a door. And once the door is painted, I'm gonna take some glue, I'm gonna glue it down, set that foam board on its side, and then weight it down. So hopefully that will help remedy some of that curvature. And I'm just gonna let that dry. I mean, when you think of steampunk, you think of pipes and gadgets and gears. And so I came across this bag of IKEA straws that I've had for, oh my God, I think I've had these for like 10 years or something. And because these straws are flexible straws, when you bend them, they look just like pipes. And so what I did was I started cutting them down. I actually had black straws in the mix, so I really just used the black ones. And then I took my blue tape and taped them. I placed the straws in different areas where I wanted them. I kind of played around with it. I moved them around quite a bit. The other thing I mentioned in the other video is that my husband has a collection of old tubes. And so he gave me a few here that he doesn't really need, that had issues or damage. And I think I'm going to incorporate these because I just love the way they look. They just have this awesome vibe to them. And then of course I have a lot of other trims and stuff from many other projects that I had. So I just painted that in that same antique bronze and then began to trim out the room. And once the trim went in, it really started to feel like a true room box. It gave the poster board more integrity and it's really starting to come together. But I wanted to focus in on that tree area to the back where you see the blue tape. And I was going to leave that tree alone, but then I decided I didn't like the edging of it. So I put all this blue tape, these little pieces of blue tape. And then I decided I'm going to make them look like pieces of sheet metal. I also painted it in that zinc color. So this is what coat 1 looks like. It covered it pretty well almost immediately. And I have all these other little trinkets and stuff that I've been saving up. While that's drying, what I'm going to do is start adding the straw pipes. And I'm starting to add that wall, and you can see there. And I've added the tube lights, and it's kind of starting to come together a little bit. And then here's the second coat of the tree wall, I'll call it. And I've also done a brushed copper on it as well. And I've done a little bit of black paint as well to kind of just age it out a little bit. Then I've added a few more gears. I added some hinges onto the door. I think it's looking really cute. I added a clock to the door also, and I'm liking the details. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Sharpies. I'm going to add some detail to that folded metal tree wall. I want to make it look like it has rivets. And so what I did was I just took my fat black Sharpie marker and I just made little dots all around the wall there. And then I went back over it with my silver Sharpie and added in those rivets. And I think it turned out pretty good. And that's what it looks like. Now that tree wall is completely dry, everything's in place, I have this leftover scrapbook paper from my dollhouse that I had bought for it, but I never used, and I'm actually going to take my Mod Podge and I'm going to go ahead and glue that in behind that tree wall, and there you go. So now that that's all glued in nice and tight, I'll be able to add the light behind it, and it should show through really well and really brighten up the space. Okay, so far I've added a lot of industrial items. I feel like I need to add some Victorian elements, and so right now what I want to do is I have this lace, and I'm going to add just a little bit of a lace curtain. So I have another straw, and I'm going to add the straw almost like a curtain rod, and then just add a little bit of lace. And I want it to be longer because I want the lace to kind of flow into the room a little bit, and so I'm going to go ahead and add that. And then the next thing I want to do is address the back side of this entire room box and also the light box in of itself. So my original idea was to cut a circle hole in the back and then add in one of those little light bulbs that you see in the base of like a Christmas village, because I have those lights up in the attic. But then I remembered that my mother-in-law gave me this light stick for Christmas. And so I think what I'm going to do is actually just add that light stick right inside the back there. The other thing I'm going to do is I want to add a light right next to the door, right about there. And then the other thing I want to do is add a light kind of to the forefront of the room box. And then the other thing I want to do is add a top, because I really need to add a top to that light box as well. And I have quite a bit of foam left over from when I did the labyrinth project. So I'm going to create a top for that. And because I'm going to have it look like a roof, I'm going to add these popsicle sticks to the top. Every crafter has a million of these freaking popsicle sticks, and I'm not even going to worry about whether or not they're perfect because I kind of want them to look a little messy. Okay, so now that I've installed the lighting, let me show you what that looks like. I went ahead and added this light here, and I did turn it upside down. It worked perfectly. I'm going to paint some of those exposed wires, I think copper, so that they kind of blend in a little bit more. And then that's what the light box looks like when it's lit. It's not actually blinking. I think it's just doing that because of the camera. And then there's the glass dome light to the front. Oh, and I should say that the light strip that my mother-in-law bought me, it actually changes colors with remote. So that's kind of fun because it actually adds this really neat element to the project that I really hadn't anticipated. So here it is in blue, but it goes purple and all sorts of other fun colors. Now let's address this one side area. You know, what have I not used yet? I haven't used tinfoil, so let's use a little tinfoil. So I added some tinfoil to the side, glued that in, and then here I've started adding some piping and some gadgets and that sort of thing. So for the rest of the back and the other side, I grabbed some black duct tape and I duct taped the whole back. So let's talk accessories. So one of the things about steampunk, I feel like time travel is a part of the genre as well. And so for this room box, I wanted to incorporate a trunk that might be filled with different objects that this person has gathered as they've kind of traveled around. The other thing I have is this raggedy old coat, doll coat. It's got some holes in it and everything, and so I thought it would make actually a really great steampunk coat. So I wanted to add some Victorian lace. So that's what I did. I just took some of my leftover lace that I had and added a little bit to the bottom and to the sleeves. And I was actually going to add some to the collar, but this coat is actually going to be hanging and you won't see it. You won't see the front. So I just didn't add that little detail. I think it would have been really fun to do that. So I also have a top hat. I had a pair of glasses. So I just glued the glasses to the top hat, and then I had a little bit of the straw left over, so I just cut it down and then added that to the glasses to kind of give them more of a steampunk look also. And then put the hat on one of the busts that in my mind this time traveling steampunk chick has picked up in her travels. Now let's go ahead and add all the accessories to the room box. And of course, we have to add the dollar store vanity table here. And of course, I've got my lipstick, my coffee, my brush, my mirror, my hairspray, and my wine. I'm pretty set. So let's go ahead and add that into the room box also. And we're done. We are done with this project, with this challenge, challenging myself to only using the things that I already had. So let's take a look of the overall expenditures. So the table itself was $1 plus tax, which gave me about $1.08. I did the penny flooring with pennies that I already had in my house, but that did cost me about $1.87. So the total cost of this project was a total of $2.95. So not bad. I mean, obviously I have a lot of stuff. So if I was just gonna do this all from scratch, I would have definitely had to spend more money. But being that I'm a miniature hoarder, I have a lot of stuff already in the house. Oh, yes, and one more little surprise for you. I went ahead, because I had so much room in that light box to the back, that I built in a little compartment so that you could store your leftover change or your own found objects back in this little secret compartment. And I thought that was a really cool addition to this steampunk room box. So I really hope that you thought this was an awesome project. Love to hear from you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so, because I have plenty more in store for you. And jump on over to Shira's Queen City Mini YouTube channel and check out her room box and see what she did. I'm positive that you're going to love it too. So thank you so much. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Bye.